Sup nerds, here's my Leviamon X deck profile. Alright, starting off with our Tamos, we are playing 4 BT15 Digimon on deletion by trashing a level 5 or higher Digimon card in your hand, draw 2. This is very vital for getting some of our Leviamon X's in trash, as well as a spicy tech that I decided to play in this list. This is the only time you need. This is much needed draw power for this deck. Alright, on to our rookies. We are playing 4 EX5 Syakomon. On play, for each of your opponent's Digimon, draw 1, then trash 1 card in your hand. For those of you that don't know, the second sentence, then trash 1 card in your hand, always happens, and it's always just 1 card. So like if you play this guy, for instance, and your opponent has no Digimon in play, you still have to trash a card even though you didn't draw anything. And then all turns, once per turn, when an effect plays an opponent's Digimon, gain 1 memory. This is the most important part of this. The draw power only really happens when you're popping off, so like you've already seen your pieces at that point. If your opponent goes super wide on you, you can potentially like maybe unbrick yourself with this card. But the inheritable is the main reason why we're playing this, because when we pop off, we get extra memory from like basically everything. And then we are playing 4 BT15 Gizamons. On play until the end of your opponent's turn, one of their Digimon gains on deletion, lose 1 memory. When you pop off and play this guy off of one of your effects before you play a Leviamon, it gives you that much extra memory to where you can keep turn when you pop off, which is really nice. And the inheritable is the same as Syakomon. All turns once per turn when an effect plays an opponent's Digimon, gain 1 memory. These inheritables are also really good against decks that just play Digimon by effect. I mean, that does happen quite often now. So they can like kind of floodgate your opponent, like if they do something that might potentially pass turn by accident. And then onto our techs, we are playing 2 Psychmon. All turns, players can't reduce play cost. This is because we don't want to get Death X'd if we ever pop off, and it's also just randomly good against certain matchups. Like Royal Knights, it's good against. It is good against Anubis, assuming someone's still trying to play that deck. I am respecting the March 1st ban list with this deck, so the assumption is the person only has 1 Anubis. It's good against cross decks, good against all kinds of stuff like that. Unfortunately, we don't have the play by effect rookie in purple. If we did, I would probably replace the Psychmons with that, but because we don't, I think this is a better floodgate than the Gazimon. And then we are playing 2 Impmons from BT6. On play, you may trash 1 card in your hand. If you do, return 1 Digimon card with the 7 Great Demon Lords or 3 Musketeers in its type from your trash to your hand. This is how we recycle our Leviamons. Let's say we discard a Leviamon for a Biting Crush, and we need it back to maybe hard evo into it because that's better for us in that situation. We want to be able to grab it back. And also sometimes mid to late game, like you maybe discarded your stuff, already triggered your Biting Crushes, and you want to add a Leviamon or Leviamon X to hard evo into them. That's what this guy is for. And that is it. We were just playing 12 rookies. On to our champions. We are playing 4 Octomon from EX5. On play /win Digivolving, if there are 4 or more total Digimon, play 1 Fujitsumon token suspended to your battle area. If there are 3 or fewer, play it suspended to your opponent's battle area. And then the effect of the token is it can't unsuspend, and on deletion, you trash 1 card in your hand. It has 3000 DP. And then all turns inheritables, the same as the 2 rookies. All turns once per turn, when an effect plays an opponent's Digimon, gain 1 memory. This is one of the cards we use to force our opponent to play Digimon by effects against their will, because if the token plays to their side of the field, it counts as your opponent playing a Digimon by an effect, so we get to pop off with our stuffs and our combos. And then we are playing 4 Porcupine. This is our answer to Floodgate rookies, like the Pillowmons, the Pomumons, the Gatsumons of the world that obviously dunk on us. We want to be able to out those pretty easily, and this guy is one of the best options you'd have without affecting our rookie slots. The BT15 Leviamon X level 4, the Gesomon, is actually pretty bad. Like, its effects were just not good. Like, its inheritable was the same as like the other cards in the line, but the actual effect was just really, really mid, so I cut it for these guys. 4 to hard play, which is relevant. On play /on deletion, delete one of your opponent's level 3 Digimon. So that's boom, 4 memory, get rid of that guy. If you're not playing a purple deck, I'm never going to see it again. You're going to have to draw another one. And then the inheritable, end of opponent's turn, once per turn, draw 1, then trash 1 card in your hand. This is also good for unbricking and also getting some of our stuff in trash that we want in there. Like our 7th Lightnings, our Levi X's, all kinds of stuff like that. And then we are also playing the one of Scatter mode. On deletion, draw 3 and then trash 2 cards in your hand. Obviously, we're going to play this. It helps us unbrick. I don't know if I would play 4 of this if it wasn't at 1, but I would definitely play at least a second copy to bump our champion count to 10. But that is it. We're just playing 9 champions. On to our ultimates. We are playing 4 Dragomon. On play / when digivolving, your opponent plays 1 level 4 or lower Digimon card from their trash, suspended without paying the cost. On play effects don't activate. And then all turns, once per turn, when an effect plays an opponent's Digimon, you may play 1 purple Digimon card with a level less than or equal to it from your trash without paying the cost. This guy is another card that forces your opponent to play Digimon by an effect, triggering our biting crushes and whatnot. And the inheritable is Piercing, which is really cool. And then we are playing 2 Waru Siegramon from BT15. All turns, once per turn, when an effect plays an opponent's Digimon, until the end of their turn, all of their Digimon gain on deletion, lose 1 memory. That's actually really cool because it's a blanket effect, so even things that aren't in play yet still gain the on deletion, lose 1 memory. This is kind of like Ice Wall. And then when attacking, your opponent plays 1 level 4 or lower Digimon card from their trash, suspended without paying the cost. On play effects on Digimon played by this effect don't activate. Then you may switch the target of the attack to that Digimon. And the inheritable is Piercing, which is also really lines up well with this. So this guy is more of a combo with Levi X. You swing with X Antibody in your sources, force your opponent to play something, you evo into Levi X from trash for free, switch the attack target, Levi X just like nukes everything. You don't have to switch the attack target because if Levi X is going to pop it, the attack just ends and you don't get the piercing. So sometimes you don't even switch the attack target. It kind of just depends on what's on your opponent's board. But it is nice to have that option. And then we are playing 2 Chaos modes from BT7. On play / when digivolving, delete 1 of your opponent's tamers or level 6 or lower Digimon. And then for every 10 cards in your trash, reduce the memory cost when playing this card from your hand by 3. We're playing this because the Waru Siegramon is actually not that good. It's only really lines up with Levi X, and just seeing too many copies of this card is actually pretty mid. So I decided to cut 2 of those for Chaos modes. This guy is also a 7 Great Demon Lord, so you can discard it off of a Biting Crush to get the delay effect, which is really nice. And also, this is just a good card to be able to play. Mid to late game, you can play it. Also, we're playing another tech that goes with him that you guys can probably guess. And just being able to have more tamer removal is also really nice. But just being able to pop like level 6 and lowers. And then like if they don't answer this card, you can evo into Leviamon, or you can tuck an X Antibody, dare your opponent to play something by an effect, evo into Levi X from trash. Yeah, very good card. And that is it. We're just playing 8 ultimates. And on to our big dogs. We are playing 4 Leviamon from EX5. 13,000 DP. He is a monster. 5 to evo, but that's rarely ever the case. Security attack +1, because why not? On play / when digivolving, if your opponent has as many or more total Digimon and Tamers as you, delete 1 of your opponent's Digimon with the highest level, then delete 1 of your opponent's lowest level Digimon. And then all turns, when an opponent's Digimon is deleted, gain 1 memory for each Digimon deleted. So if your opponent has 2 things in play, and you just have 1 or 2 things in play, you evo into this guy for effectively 3 memory. And you just boom, boom, boom. And a lot of times you can keep turn with that. And like, in a lot of your combos where you're like playing this guy out with Biting Crush and stuff like that, like you'll play this guy, you'll end up gaining back like 5 memory off of the entire interaction. Like, it's kind of insane. And for those of you that don't know, I have seen this question come up quite often. So this effect right here, where it deletes the highest and lowest level and the same effect, if they only have 1 thing in play, it attempts to delete that thing 2 different times. And if they only have 1 protection effect, it will successfully delete it the second time, and they will not get a chance to trigger the protection effect a second time. Because you can only activate those protection effects once per effect. This was a ruling that has been out for a while, but it doesn't come up except for cards like Leviamon. Like Leviamon's like one of the cards that actually forces you to know that rule. I'll give you guys an example, since I saw someone that just refuses to believe the answer is not in their favor. BT15 Secret Metal Garurumon. It has Evade, and then has a secondary effect that like when it suspends, you can unsuspend it. So if you play this guy or evo into him, and they only have the Melgo on the field, you target it with the first sentence. It can evade because that's interruptive, but it does not have a chance to trigger its effect to unsuspend itself because this effect hasn't finished activating, which actually I mean resolving, but I want to use the Digimon language. So this effect hasn't finished, and because of that, they don't even get a chance to trigger the unsuspend effect. So it attempts to delete it a second time, and that attempt is successful because evade, like other protection effects, you can only trigger once during an effect that's activating. Let's say for some reason it had another interruptive effect that actually unsuspended it as well, which it doesn't, but just for argument's sake, it still wouldn't be able to evade a second time while this effect is activating, which is kind of insane. Like, this guy just gets rid of really stupid things. Like Machine Dramon's another example. If they have Chaos X Antibody and only one kind of protection under it, like they just have Chaos Dramon underneath it with that protection effect, if this guy comes out and targets it twice, it will be able to interrupt it the first time to detach 2 cards to protect itself, but this second sentence is still going to pop it. Same thing with War Greymon Tribal. If they only have Greymon X in the line and not Alterous mode as well, it will still successfully pop it if it's the only thing on the field. If they do have Alterous mode and Greymon X and enough sources to detach, they can trigger and activate those 2 different effects, because those are 2 different effects that are protecting it. But other than that, like, this guy's going to get rid of hard to remove things, which is pretty cool. He is a bit of a rulings nightmare, but once you understand how that interaction works for things like that, it's pretty simple. And then we are playing 3 Leviamon X Antibody. This guy goes hard in the paint. 14,000 DP, hard evos for 6. We rarely ever pay that. Most of the time you're evoing into this guy, it's free, which is hilarious. He does evo on top of Leviamon for 2 if you're feeling it. Trash, all turns. When an effect plays an opponent's Digimon or Tamer, one of your Leviamon or Digimon with X Antibody and their Digivolution cards may Digivolve into this card without paying the cost. Also, he has Security Attack +2, because why not? And then when Digivolving, if your opponent has as many or more total Digimon and Tamers as you, delete one of their Tamers. So there's a stipulation for this. It has the same thing as the Leviamon for the first sentence. They have to have as many or more. You delete one of their Tamers. But this second sentence always happens. Then delete one of your opponent's level 3, one of their level 5, and one of their level 7 Digimon. This guy's insane. Unfortunately, he does not have the all turns broken effect of gaining memory, but most of the time when you evo into this guy, it's free anyway. So it's not really he's not going to pass turn whenever you evo into him generally. And sometimes you evo into him on your opponent's turn, which is pretty fun. But yeah, this guy's really cool. I didn't really want to play 4, because he's only really good if you have X Antibody in your sources or Leviamon on the field. Or there is another situation where if you have a Biting Crush in play, a Leviamon in trash, and a Levi X, you can trigger the Biting Crush, play Leviamon, trigger and activate his effect, and then you can trigger Leviamon X as well, and evo into it from trash and trigger that effect and activate it. Very good card. And then, as I said, we are respecting the March 1st ban list. We are playing a 1 of Anubismon, because why not? Why wouldn't you want to just play Leviamon back from your trash whenever you wanted? For 7 memory, but if you delete 2 things, it's only 5 memory. Really stupid. This guy is insane. He should go to 0. I think him being a 1 of in purple is a mistake, because they can recycle this card. Like, there's rookies that can grab him back from the trash. There's options. There's Tamers. There's all kind. Like, you can recycle this guy if you want to build a deck around him. The only issue is you just have to see the 1 of. So he evos for 4, 12,000 DP. When Digivolving /main, once per turn, you may trash up to 3 cards in your hand, then play 1 purple Digimon card from your trash with the play cost reduced by 3. For each card trashed by this effect, further reduce it by 1. And then your turn, not once per turn, when an effect plays one of your Digimon, delete one of your opponent's level 5 or lower Digimon. If this effect didn't delete, draw 1. This guy has broken the card. I can't believe they printed a card like this. And like I said, I do think it needs to go to 0. Maybe it eventually will. But this guy is basically, like, if you're playing purple, there's no real reason not to play this as a 1 of, even if you can't recycle it in that list, just because of how insane his effect is. If they don't answer this guy, you get to just activate it every single turn, once per turn, because it's a main effect. But yeah, this guy's super dumb. Please put him to 0. But that is it. We're just playing 8 level 6s. And on to our options, which there are quite a few. We are playing 3 X Antibody from BT9. I do not like Protoform. That card is really bad in a deck like this, because you have to be evoing into an X Antibody in order to activate it to tuck. This card, you can just activate it whenever you want willy-nilly and tuck it underneath the Digimon. And this lets you threaten a Leviamon X on your opponent's turn, because you can just tuck it and then, like, dare them to do something. And this also just lets you tuck this on your turn and, like, swing with your Waru Siegemon, for example, and trigger Waru Siegemon's effect, and then trigger Levi X's effect, because He can Evo on top of your level 5 if this is in the sources. So while you have a Digimon in play, you may use this card without meeting its color requirements. Security, gain 1 memory and add this card to its owner's hand. And then main, place this card under one of your Digimon without X Antibody in its Digivolution cards as its bottom Digivolution card. And then the inheritables are all turns. This card can't be trashed from this Digimon's Digivolution cards. And then when attacking, this Digimon may Digivolve into a Digimon card with X Antibody in its traits from your hand for its cost. You can potentially use that, like you can just swing and then hard Evo into Levi X in your hand with this effect. I think I did that in testing, but I don't think I did that in the tournament that I played this in. But that is an option. LOL, of course, it's an option. And then we are playing for 7th Lightning. This card is also really dumb, so it's a 7-cost option. It has a trash all turns effect. When one of your Digimon Digivolves into Leviamon X Antibody, by returning this card to the bottom of the deck, delete one of your opponent's level 4 and one of their level 6 Digimon. So this is a completely free effect if it's in your trash. And if you'll notice, these are the 2 levels that your Leviamon X doesn't interact with. So if you Evo into Levi X with this in trash, you can potentially clear one of everything on your opponent's board. Tamer, level 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Sounds like a pretty broken effect to me. And then the main effect is by trashing 1 card in your hand, delete one of your opponent's level 4 and their level 6 Digimon. So it also can potentially get rid of 2 bodies if you just have it in your hand. And security to activate the card's main effect. This card is very insane. You can just hard activate this. But you can also just discard this off your effects just to get it in your trash, so you can set up your Leviamon X to just stomp your opponent. And then, as I alluded to earlier, we actually are playing 2 Dead or Alive from BT7, 8-cost option. Main, play 1 purple level 5 Digimon card from your trash without paying the cost, and the security is activate the main effect. So we're playing this because our Dragomon also has an on play, so like you can potentially Dead or Alive your Dragomon back and trigger his effect to trigger a Biting Crush in your battle area. But you can also obviously play back your Chaos modes, an 8-cost option that just plays your Chaos mode back. Also, Security Bomb is really nice. Just spamming Chaos modes and things like that. Like, ideally, you're playing Chaos mode off this, but the Dragomon is an option that you want to keep on the table and be aware of. And then we are, of course, playing 4 Biting Crushes from EX5, 8-cost option. I would play 10 of this card if I could. This card's the best card in the deck. Main, by trashing 1 card in your hand, delete one of your opponent's level 6 or lower Digimon. If this effect trash a card with a 7 Great Demon Lords trait, place this card in the battle area. And that's why we're playing 9 Demon Lords, or 9 7 Great Demon Lords, I should say. Because we want to have the delay effect as much as possible. And then all turns, when an effect plays an opponent's Digimon delay, you may play 1 Leviamon from your trash without paying the cost. Securities activate the main effect. So you want to get these set up in your battle area and then just dare your opponents to play something by an effect, or force their hand, make them play something by an effect, and then trigger this effect and just pop off and just decimate their board. All of these interactions are like super, super broken. But this card does lose to a few things, like if they have a Pillowmon set up, they can do whatever they want on their turn, and then force you to out the Pillowmon before you can trigger this guy, which we can do, but it is a bit of a challenge. But you can also just hard Evo into your Leviamon or Levi X and answer their board. So like you don't have to trigger this card, but this card is super duper free. So if your opponent doesn't have a floodgate stopping you, you definitely want to be able to trigger and activate this card. And that is it for the list. I am going to be posting gameplay with the deck. Once those videos go live, they'll be in the pinned comment below. But if you guys have any questions or anything I didn't address, feel free to leave them down in the comments. I'll be happy to answer anything. But I appreciate you guys stopping by. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you enjoy seeing this kind of content. Want to come back for more. But until next time, see ya.